This is Deb Helfrich, hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. I am Dave Chappelle's soulmate. And I've also written a feature film for one of Dave Chappelle's high school potential classmates. There was at least slightly able to overlap. What I'm talking about is my college pal Lamman Rucker also went to Duke Ellington, somewhere near the time Chappelle may or may not have been in some similar classes. All right, look, that was a little brief intro. Deb is creating a way to save my life. Shit got real in the pandemic, did it not? For all of us. I'd been living in pandemic conditions for the prior decade. Been a hermit due to a toxic mold exposure that created the hashtag redheaded She-Hulk persona. Bill Bixby had a little gamma radiation situation. I lived in a moldy apartment. For both of us, what it did is created nervous systems just the slightest little "that's not fair" sets us into mold rage. Hulking. Hashtag redheaded She-Hulk. That's the title of my one-woman Socratic improv. That is an imitation, is the sincerest form of flattery. Tribute to Sticks and Stones by Dave Chappelle. That was the work of art that made me understand why I was born. All the rest of these stand-up comics I've been watching my whole life, and I can't even tell you how precisely I watched and stored the art and science of stand-up comedy, stand-up truth-telling. The aspect of the comedy that is making fun of people and lowest common denominator, you know, I enjoy it. I have nothing to say about it because we do need to take the piss out of ourselves, as the Brits might say. But me being me, alone in the world, I'm just trying to make some friends. And I'm trying to show the world that creating our own best livelihoods is the meaning of life. Is we're here to be conscious creators. We're here to speak our truth. Now, we had to go through some things to have some truth to speak about. In my case, what I went through in the span of my life has enabled me to do some real feats of cognitive processing around thinking about how we talk about being human. That's right. I'm a philosopher of human energy and consciousness. By human energy, I mean hashtag wellbeing philosophy. The redheaded She-Hulk, that is the performance tip of my iceberg. The hashtag Wellbeing Philosophy Institute leverages my degree in philosophy from Carnegie Mellon, where I hung out with Lamman Rucker every now and again, to explain, re-explain E = mc squared from the perspective of human energy. Not just energy being equivalent to mass. But if that is a true valid law, and I think being the most famous equation ever, most of us think it's pretty well accepted science. The question that a well-being philosopher asks is if it's valid. E equals mc squared would explain human energy as well. And it does. Oh, don't think I can tell it to you in this brevity that I got to get in on this video clip. It'll take you about 90 minutes. Take you about sticks and stones level to watch the complexity. I'll dial up the tension. I'll sweep it away. I'll dial up the tension. I'll sweep it away. Bring in a lexicon of context about rethinking about what we know about being human, all in service of stopping racism. We have gotten skin twisted. We've all got melanin. We are all African ancestrally. I am the person with ever so slightly arctic-hued skin who's loved equatorial-hued skinned humans. And has the receipts of decades of demonstrating racial harmony. Help me start the conversations, both in the US of hypocrisy and globally, that have humanity understanding that racism is idiocy, that white supremacy is a crime, and that the delusion of white superiority is a mental aberration that created systems and structures that must be completely scrubbed of any judgment based on superficial qualities. Skin color, gender, sexual preference, ability. We would stop there. Thinness, prettiness, appropriateness, not being Einstein level smartness. This culture is just a judgment machine. And we use that judgment to keep people from earning livings. So then we punish them for not playing by the rules of society that they can't play by. Because society doesn't even think they're part of society. No, y'all, no. This world, human civilization is not like inherent on Earth. Let's go back to the physics of this. Human civilization is created by the community of thoughts of all 7.8 billion humans. Now, there are things written down, we call them laws. They can be ripped up, edited. The tech backup can get trashed. We don't have to treat humans the way heinously flawed white men did starting in the mid-1400s. We can immediately, changing human thought works like this. I'm a philosopher, trust me. We'll take some project plans and some transition funds and publicity and movies, entertainment. This is an entercation empire for me to help spread life-centric thinking. Let's first do no harm to any nugget of life. This is a rant about my search for just a little bit of life-saving financial support to continue staying alive with a moldy brain so that I can create documentaries, one-woman Socratic monologues, web series, feature films, well-being philosophy institutes. Let me just start really impactful, intelligent, world-evolving conversations. This is superpower. It's so incredibly rare that nobody even sees that asking the right questions and learning the skills of philosophical reasoning, of finding validity in the world that is so complex that what one expert says completely disagrees with what another expert says, while it's 100% correct right there in that little zone of expertise. Philosophers are bringing all this little expertise up and going, well, this one contradicts this one, but if you split the difference and pivot then they both make sense. All right, theoretically enough. This is a video that I'm going to blockchain around, YouTubing and LinkedIning and tweeting. Oh my. Hashtag NFT, hashtag NFT art. Imagine owning the start of a movie about starring Lamman, Rucker, and Jill Scott. I still don't know what to reveal about it and what to make a sort of, let everyone just think it's a romantic comedy, but there's the two stars. Okay, there's this introducing redhead. The best feeling ever is when I wrote the movie. It was about 2 years ago. It started coming to me after my 50th birthday. So April, May, June 2019. I wrote a treatment for Londolozi, the movie, that prognosticated COVID. In the movie treatment, I called it all seasonal sunlight flu. People get sick for 5 days, well for 2 days, sick for 5 days, well. I'm a girl. I don't need deaths and dyings. But what I said was, when that was all happening, it started on a Monday or a Thursday for somebody, work was all disrupted. And so that's what I said. Within a matter of weeks, the financial system just started collapsing. Sick leave evaporated. It just, the administrivia of a global illness that I called all seasonal sunlight flu would unsettle the foundations of humanity. That was the evil in the movie Londolozi. Because what was happening is, via a tweet, me and my college pal Lamman Rucker, meet cute, thinking, could people like us have been friends a while ago? I won't age Lamman if it's inappropriate for Mr. Hollywood A-list actor to be aged, but y'all know how old Lamman is. So it would have been 25 years ago. Would two people like us be able to have that relationship today? What has transpired in the world, especially through the heinous 45th administration that should be going through a crimes against humanity tribunal, wants to make some jobs, set up a tribunal to completely and utterly hold the 45th administration, all of them, accountable. The ideas in this brain. Put me on a stage with Dave Chappelle. We can Socratic dialogue. She's Socrates, Chappelle's Plato. Imagine. The thing is, if you are bold enough to imagine that you are Dave Chappelle's soulmate, if you are bold enough to tweet Lamman Rucker, who you know, and Jill Scott, who you do not know, who is like the divas of all the divas, and a traditionally built lady, who grew up around in North Philly way with my other pal, Troy. We contemporaries of Will and Jeff. Jill just a little too young for me to have had the 1 degree of separation. But do you see how this all worked out? I had some friends in college. They were African American men. Even as we, aged and like everyone in America, you get locked into your job, and with all these notifications and emojiing, we are all now subcontracted to do pro bono for free for social media companies. You can't keep in touch with your college pals. And then my college pals, because forget about 6 degrees of separation. Forget about, it froze for me. Did it freeze for you? Forget about 6 degrees of separation. Who I am 1 degree of separation from Will, because Troy grew up around the neighborhood, hung out. When he lived in LA, Will Jada's kitchen, at least once. His brother is a filmmaker. So I wanted to talk about anti-racism and the value of bringing to the screen a truthful and honest account of a white woman who chose to be the only white woman. Number of ways, times, situations, repeatedly. Is very, very, very comfortable. In a way that when I ended up entirely alone in the world due to a toxic mold exposure, and that's what this is. This is me being alone in the world. Days from homelessness, having no one to talk to, no one to turn to for even the tiniest bit of support. A couch to sleep on. While I'm doing this incredibly impactful work, it is that my health put me in this position, and then the pandemic has created a society with blinders on and 3-second attention spans and doing something creatively new that requires the attention span of somebody who is a Dave Chappelle fan. The Sticks and Stones audience, where are they? That's who I'm trying to reach on the internet, and I reach nobody. So that put me in this financial bind. The internet, social media especially, is a Ponzi scheme. And I was a software consultant for 2 decades. I mean, this whole, again, Carnegie Mellon, I understand tech philosophically. It's more powerful than programmers. Philosophically understanding human energy is more powerful than doctors. So if you know how to power your own energy, you don't end up ill. Or if you do catch a bug, you have strategies to use placebo tools for your own advantage. That's how well people stay well. And I'm a well person. I piloted a 333-pound body for 50 years. And then in preparation for pandemic conditions and this brand new need for stand-up philosophy in the world, I lost 150 pounds in 15 months after turning 50. With no diet or exercise nonsense. Now, I was a astute steward of this process. But optimizing the what we eat variable is not the only one. It's a triangle. What you eat turns out to probably be the least efficient variable. The other two are when and how much. When you apply hunter-gatherer evolutionary logic thinking to when and how much you eat, and contrary to all of this fasting schedule nonsense, you employ a feast and famine, homeodynamic, flexible regime in direct communication with your own body. You don't let some asshole on the tweeter give you a schedule for eating. Duh! You don't let some nurse practitioner, nutritionist in Albuquerque tell you what to eat tomorrow. I mean, these people know things theoretically, but it takes a theoretical master as a philosopher to go, theoretically, what happens in laboratory conditions, it's like a pattern, like a sewing pattern. You know, and it would come, it would be all sizes, the pattern, you know, and you would just cut out if you want a size 16, and you want a size 12. I think I'm getting close. Look. We're pulling a Jordan. Harmony, y'all.